All right, so Alex Pereira just absolutely massacred Magomed Ankalaev. He is now once again the champion of the world, as you know. And now the question is, always in these situations, is what is next for the champ? This man has achieved incredible greatness in a record amount of time. I mean, ever since he came to this sport, there was a lot of hype, and he lived up to that in so many ways. He became the middleweight champion, now the light heavyweight champion, not once, but twice, and he just got revenge over Magomed Ankalaev in 1 minute, 20 seconds. Gone in 80 seconds, okay? But it's the way that he did it that was so impressive. He said that he was 40% last time. I'll be honest, I kind of scoffed at that because fighters are never 100%. I mean, for crying out loud, I thought the back end of my career with one eye and a ton of other injuries, okay? Fighters are never 100%, so it did sound like some excuses were being made. However, he clearly was burnt out. He clearly wasn't the best version of himself. Or maybe he just had a fantastic performance, okay? Right? Regardless, he smokes Magomed Ankalaev. So the question is, what's next? Now, of course, he wants to go to heavyweight. Dana White said that he saw him at the Performance Institute on Friday. He told Dana face-to-face he wants to go to heavyweight. And you would assume that by going to heavyweight, he would mean wanting the winner of Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall, which goes down in just a couple of weeks. But that's not what he wants. He wants to take on Jon Jones at the White House, the greatest of all time, depending on who you ask, of course. We're not getting into that whole debate, but that's what Pereira wants. Now, I will say this. The man should be afforded some wild opportunities. What he did, the way he came back, the way he thrills audiences, the knockouts that he's had, the career that he's had, the impact that he's made on this sport, and the fan base that will once again be behind him is immense, okay? So I say give the man some fun fights. Yes, of course, there is Carlos Ulberg out there, and there is Yuri Prohaska. Yuri, I could not be a bigger fan of that guy. I love that guy, but he's been beaten by Alex twice. I hate to say it, I don't think the outcome would be much different. Carlos Ulberg, yeah, sure. Make him fight Carlos Ulberg, probably beat Carlos Ulberg, because it'll be a kickboxing match. Ulberg's not going to shoot a double leg takedown. He's not all of a sudden going to turn into a Dagestani wrestler that he just beat, by the way, in 1 minute, 20 seconds. He would probably beat Carlos Ulberg as well. So what do you do with him? Well, you give him something fun, okay? There is Jon Jones at the White House. However, Dana's already said he's not going to put Jon Jones on at the White House because he needs people that he can trust. And of course, it's looking like Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler is going to be the main event. McGregor's out there talking about it, announcing it, going on Fox Sports, saying that he is negotiating directly with the White House.
It ain't a negotiation. Wow. It's a done deal, signed, delivered.
So, of course, Dana White refuted that last night. He said, we're not even talking about contracts or anything like that.
We're still talking about the production and how everything's going to work at the White House. We have not started negotiating any fights.
Although I do expect McGregor to be on there versus Michael Chandler, which is crazy because we never thought that fight was going to happen. Jones versus Pereira, okay? I mean, that's a huge fight. That's a big fight that a lot of people would want to see. But what would you rather see? But the fight that I would rather see is Alex Pereira going up against Tom Aspinall or Cyril Gane. More than likely, Tom Aspinall, let's be honest, he's probably going to win against Cyril. Alex Pereira has the opportunity to become a 3-weight division champion, something that no one's ever done. That's never happened. We've had many double champs. We've had several simultaneous double champs, but no one has gone through 3 different weight classes and became the champion. There will be no doubt that Alex Pereira would be the greatest undisputed fighter that ever competed in the UFC, because you can't argue with the fact that he was the champion in 3 different weight classes. And if he was to do that, that would be ridiculous. However, Dana said the only problem with that is that he used to fight at middleweight.
Probably that he was a middleweight. He was a middleweight, and he's going to jump up 2 weight classes in the UFC. It's not like jumping up 2 weight classes in boxing. It's a big jump. He's in a division that there's still some interesting fights. I don't know. It's just I like the guy so much. We'll see. We'll have to talk about it.
And that's true. He did. He fought at middleweight, and he was actually knocked out at middleweight by Israel Adesanya. That's when he went up to light heavyweight. And yes, okay, granted, he's a big guy. He cut from 234 pounds last week for that fight. So he could probably beef up to 240, 245, which isn't a bad size heavyweight, let's be honest. There's other people calling him out as well. Khamzat Chimaev, the middleweight champion, he's calling out Alex Pereira. In fact, he tweeted about it, said, come on, let's finish what we started or something like that. I don't think Pereira wants that matchup. Yes, Khamzat is one of the biggest stars in the organisation. And I'm not saying Khamzat would beat Alex Pereira, but after what he just did to Dricus du Plessis, Khamzat would probably beat Alex Pereira simply because of the matchup, simply because of the way that Khamzat Chimaev fights. And going up to 205, having that extra weight, there's a possibility. I'm not on Alex Pereira after he just became the champion again. That's not what I'm doing. I'm actually celebrating him and giving him his flowers because I did underestimate him. I did think that he was making excuses, and I did think that Magomed Ankalaev would be a problem and probably beat him again this time. Of course, none of those things happened. So as I said, so what does he do next? Okay, I would like to see him test the waters at heavyweight. Remember back in the day when we had Anderson Silva that was destroying everyone at middleweight? He was just running roughshod through everyone, putting on mind-blowing performances. He went up to light heavyweight just to test the waters, just to stay active, and had some amazing performances. I mean, look at what he did against Forrest Griffin. Look at that performance that Anderson Silva had at Forrest Griffin at 205 pounds and then continue to be the light heavyweight champ. So that's an opportunity. That's a possibility. Maybe go up to heavyweight, give him a fun matchup there, see how he does, test the waters, and then if he does great, if he passes the test, give him a title fight. To be fair, I would have no problem with him being given an automatic title fight at heavyweight. Probably deserves it. Then you could let maybe Jan Blachowicz and Yuri Prochazka fight for the vacant belt. I'm not saying that he should vacate the belt. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if he fights Carlos Ulberg down the line and he beats him and he's running out of options, and certainly as Alex Pereira is starting to get older, he's 38 years old, and that weight cut that he did from 234 to 205, that's going to get harder. The older you get, the harder the weight cuts are, and the more of a toll they take on your body and also your long-term health. Let's remember that. So maybe another fight or two at light heavyweight. Maybe take out Carlos Ulberg because I think he does deserve it. Maybe you give him the third fight with Yuri Prochazka. Maybe there's someone else out there that we're not considering or I'm not thinking of right now because I'm tired. I was just in Vegas. I was just doing the Contender Series. I did Power Slap and I'm off to Brazil on Tuesday and I'm exhausted and I've got a raspy voice, got a sore voice. So maybe there is someone I'm forgetting about. But yeah, let him clear out the division once and for all and then send the man to heavyweight. I would love to see it. He wants it. Let's make history here. Alex Pereira becoming a 3-weight division champion. Tell me that doesn't excite you. I'm looking at the rankings here, and for Pereira, there's no one that really jumps out. He will be lapping everyone once again. The only person that remains is Carlos Ulberg. And then at heavyweight, if he went up there, yeah, all right, Jon Jones, who, by the way, as we know, he just lost his brother Arthur. So he's going through it, and he's apparently, according to Dana, handling it as well as one can be expected to. No doubt, an awful tragedy for the Jones family, and it's going to derail him for quite some time. It's going to put him on the sidelines. He's going to have to go through the mourning process and bereavement, of course. So maybe we don't see Jon Jones for just a little bit. So if he does want to go to heavyweight, and it's not going to be an immediate title fight, if he wants to test the waters, I mean, put him in there with somebody like Derek Lewis. Holy shit. Telling me you don't want to see Alex Pereira and Derek Lewis? That sounds incredible. Sergey Spivak could be an issue with the wrestling. Jailton Almeida, keep him away from Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida, the wrestling is ridiculous. You got Curtis Blades in there as well, who has been knocked out by strikers like Derek Lewis, who lost to Tom Aspinall. Sergey Pavlovich. I mean, these aren't necessarily the fights to make because Sergey Pavlovich or Derek Lewis would be really, really dangerous fights for Alex Pereira at heavyweight. We know Pereira's not going to shoot, okay? He's not going to shoot a single leg, a double leg. He's not going to get a body lock takedown. He's going to go out and he's going to throw hands and leg kicks and all the rest of it. But those guys, being the size they are and the power that they have, could be really, really dangerous. But ultimately, never mind Khamzat Chimaev. It's a 3-weight division champion that he should be pursuing, that he does want. He did call out Jon Jones, but the move here is call out the winner of Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane, make history, be a 3-weight division champion, and then retire as the greatest fighter that the UFC ever saw. Because regardless of matchups, regardless of whatever you want to say or whatever theories you can come up with, if you become a UFC champion in one division, that's incredible. Bravo. Amazing. 2 divisions, crazy. That is a very, very elite club. 3 divisions, it's never been done. And if he was to do that, then as I say, the conversation's over. He would be the greatest of all time. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. In the meantime, by the time you next see me, I should have a voice back to 100%. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and ring the bell. And I'll see you soon.